over 13,000 cabs in New York City, but there's only one that pays you. This is Cash Cab, and I'm your host, JD Salinger. Hey, how you doing?
Okay, I guess.
Well, joke's on you. This is Cash Cab! Woo! Alright. This is how Cash Cab works. I'm going to ask you questions about me, and you're going to answer them for money. Anyway, the first subject is my biography. So, how was I raised? What was my dad and what was my mom?
Your father was Jewish, and your mother was Catholic.
Man.
Well, that's somebody knew that. Is that right?
Yes, that is correct. I'm impressed.
Third question. No, this is second.
Second question, thank you. This is my show. Where did I devote myself entirely to writing? She answered last time, you have to answer this time.
That's not how this game works.
Yes, it is. This is my game!
Columbia University.
Correct. Yeah. Sweet, sounds good.
That's money.
Third question. What novel am I most famous for?
Catcher in the Rye.
Catcher in the Rye. Man, that was fast. I'm a little worried. What year was Catcher in the Rye published?
1950.
Oh, that's rough. It was 1951. You are awful at this game.
I got one question wrong.
Next.
Did I lose money?
What was the title of the series of short stories that were published 2 years after Catcher in the Rye?
How many stories were there? 9 stories.
Yes, 9 stories. I can't give you the answer. Alright, so now we're going to move on to the literary devices inside of 9 stories. Particularly, we're going into the story of The Laughing Man. I hope you're familiar with that. I know it's kind of specific, but get over it. What literary devices were used in The Laughing Man?
One of the main one was the frame story. So there was a story within the story itself, which was... The main story was a 9-year-old telling about his adventures with the Comanches, and his chief told him the story of the Laughing.
Wow. What was the other literary device?
Well, there was an allusion to Julius Caesar, which occurred when the bandits who kidnapped the Laughing Man killed his mom by stabbing her a few times. That happened in Julius Caesar.
Can you guys tell me about the New York setting in The Laughing Man?
Well, most of it, other than the frame story, takes place in Manhattan and parts outside of Manhattan. And so, since they were in a really urban environment, the kids wouldn't have had ways to get outside and learn the Boy Scoutish kind of things that the chief taught them otherwise. And so that kind of plays a hand into just how they grew up. Also within that part of the story is set within the early 1920s. So with characters like Mary Hudson, she was not easily able to openly go and do things like play baseball. She had to wait until she got into a relationship to actually be able to participate in activities like that.
What's the setting of The Laughing Man?
Well, it's set in both China and Berlin, Paris, and it's significant. It shows the childhood innocence, because those two places are not anywhere close to each other on a map, but the children are so happy with the story, and that they don't care about discontinuities within the story.
You were really close, but I hate to break it to you. Berlin is not in Paris. Everybody knows Berlin is in France. Duh. Name 4 characters that are in The Laughing Man and describe their significance.
Okay, there's the narrator, and he's significant because the story is being told through a child's eyes, which shows like the childhood innocence. There is the chief, and he is sort of like a father figure to the narrator, and he's significant because he does play that father figure. There is Mary Hudson, and she shows the gender roles. And then there is the Laughing Man, who is a story within the story itself. And he is significant because the Laughing Man story is a metaphor for the chief's life.
I like it. What are you doing? Ah! My car! Fifth question. What is a metaphor used in The Laughing Man, and can you describe it?
Within the Laughing Man, there was the chief telling the story, and the story of the Laughing Man himself can be seen as a metaphor for the chief's life.
Yeah, that's it. Perfect. Is there any symbolism in The Laughing Man?
There is a motif in the color red, and which you see in his masks, it's made of red flowers. And at the very end, there's a little piece of red tissue paper that's supposed to represent a laughing man to him.
Can you state an example of conflict in The Laughing Man?
Okay, so the chief's girlfriend, Mary Hudson, comes in to play baseball, and nobody really knows what's going on because they're not used to women playing baseball. So, but then she comes in and hits it out of the park, quite literally. And so I guess you could say the conflict is being accepting towards new ideas and people because it takes them a while to get used to her.
Good stuff. We're doing this. Alright.
Hey, what's up? Why are you playing?
Please just leave me alone.
Okay.
What is the significance of this quote and who said it? Please leave me alone.
That's Mary Hudson. She broke up with the chief, and the narrator was asking her to go play baseball again, but she wasn't going to because they broke up, and she was upset about it. So she says that to him, and it's important because it's like a big part in the story, and it kind of sets the climax.
Good stuff. That's correct. What's the significance of this quote and who said it? I arrived home with my teeth chattering uncontrollably and was told to go straight to bed.
Oh, it's the narrator when he returns home after the story is finished and the Laughing Man has been killed.
What is a major theme that I use in The Laughing Man?
Well, a lot of it deals with childhood innocence and the willingness of children to believe whatever they're given. And so the Comanches, they don't have...
Get out of the way! I'm sorry, what was that?
The Comanches don't have much to worry about in their lives other than playing baseball and when they're gonna get to go to the park.
Good stuff. These answers are fire. Okay, last question. What is Darren Crutcher's middle name? You don't know?
No, I have no idea.
Get out. Get out. Get out. Joke's on them, it was a trick question. His middle name is Moist.